ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. I, of course, am your host, and I'm joined once again by the prolific commenter himself, Zealeus.
Sup?
Sup with you?
It's a glorious day to be alive, yo.
Fantastic. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you may have recognized or maybe heard about the crazy, absolutely bizarre-ass news of Sony Online Entertainment being sold off to Daybreak Game Studio. Which, to me, okay, I kind of saw that Sony's going to start selling off some of its gaming parts. That did not bother me. But the name of the company kind of bothers me.
Like, the entire thing is just poof. It's gone.
Daybreak Game, not games, game. Sorry, Daybreak Game Studio.
It's a crappy name of a studio.
There needs to be an S. There's got to be a S somewhere.
That's the first thing that got me is like, I don't even like the name of the studio, which I know is a totally superficial thing, but even the name of the studio for me is like...
Okay, but here's the craziness thing, okay? So, Sony basically came out and said that they really want to change their financial focus away from creating first-party games, which is what Sony Online Entertainment does, and they want to basically throw it at the third-party developers. Now, I've been shouting it from the mountaintops for...
Sing it from the mountaintops!
For many a year, that Sony has continuously shot themselves in the foot, and I think that this is just another sign that Sony has gone so far down the rabbit hole of bizarro world that they're now concerned that they're more concerned about other stuff than games. Actually, you know what it is it's one of those situations where they want to keep making money, they just don't want to spend it. So they're getting rid of the first party game companies, or company, the big one. But they're of course going to allow the third party developers to continue to pay for the licensing fee to put their games on their system. Financially, it sounds great. And we may, I mean, let's admit, I hate to admit this, but I think that we have gone way past the days of complete exclusivity on a system, unless you're Nintendo.
Which I'm a fan of.
What, not being exclusive?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct, because, well, I don't want to have to own two consoles to play all the newest and greatest games.
Right.
Granted, I don't own either the PS4 or the Xbox One, but the concept is still alive for me. And plus, if it's both on the Xbox and the PS4, there's a better chance of it going to the PC, even if it's a crappy port.
Yes, and if y'all will remember last week, I went on a little bit of a rant about ports, mobile to PC, but, whatever. I'm trying to think if there was any other huge news.
Here's my real question is,
okay, shoot.
What will this do to Star Wars Galaxies? Okay, so a little back history.
Star Wars Galaxies?
Star Wars Galaxies, the MMO.
The ancient MMO?
It used to actually be a good MMO.
Okay, right, okay.
We're talking like many eons ago, which in video game time means like 6 to 8 years ago. Was actually a good MMO. And then Sony Online Entertainment took over the game and decided to basically, I never actually played it, but every single record of the game that exists basically says that Sony Online Entertainment took it over and completely made the game a giant ball of blazing shit.
Well, actually, to further your story, what actually happened upon SOE basically going on top of Star Wars Galaxy is that every person with crazy networking knowledge basically tried to grab up all the packets and bits of the original Galaxies and create all these private servers for people to actually play the real game and not the shitastic one that then polluted the Sony Online arena.
Indeed. It just seems like for the last number of years, anytime you hear something Sony is doing, is particularly when it comes to the gaming realm, it just makes you go facepalm. Like, there's nothing they come out with and be like, dude, that's awesome, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it's been a long time since that's happened.
Everything's like Really? You took out Linux from the PlayStation. You limited true PlayStation 2 backwards compatibility.
Oh no, actually it was PlayStation 1 and 2 backwards compatibility of the PlayStation 3.
Thank you, sir.
Which is why I have an original PlayStation 3. Like, and you know, yes, from time to time it goes, oh, you're running out of space. And I'll be like, okay.
Well, and the list goes on. It's like, it seems like every move they make, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It just seems to be a list. It's
Right.
like, huh.
It's an unfortunate list that continues to grow,
No,
starting from the PlayStation 3 all the way up to today.
Now, they're fortunate, I think, in a way that they're against Microsoft, who, granted, they don't necessarily have the face palms, but Microsoft, by the same token, doesn't have many eureka moments, it seems like. They just more or less do the status quo. So, kind of the two, or glad to Nintendo, because Nintendo has their own special little beast.
Yep.
But Microsoft and Nintendo, Microsoft and PlayStation, Sony, they seem almost like content with just playing like least common denominator games when it comes to the consoles. It seems like neither of them are willing to really, be bold and do something cool and awesome. They're just both kind of doing. I mean, both their consoles are, for all intents and purposes, pretty damn near identical. I mean, they both have a pretty similar architecture, pretty similar specs. PlayStation 4 is a little bit ahead.
They don't have the same architecture.
They're pretty similar. They're both x86 architecture now.
Yeah, but the Xbox architecture is literally a PC.
Yeah.
Sony still has its own proprietary stuff.
But they're pretty similar in terms of hardware and specs. I mean, neither of them just stand out in my
They both
mind.
have Blu-ray players now.
Woo! Blu-ray! I mean, Netflix. So, I don't know. As a whole, the console market, the whole console gaming environment just doesn't really. I'll put it this way. For a while, I was playing the Xbox quite a bit. I had the 360. I was playing, a lot of games, very fun. But I've kind of flipped the script, and I kind of neglected my PC for a while. Now I'm back into the PC camp. I just feel like the PC market is kind of back at a place where there's always something fun and interesting coming on the PC, and I just don't get that feeling from the console market that it's groundbreaking and awesome.
All right, well, I think, okay, so one of the biggest issues is that there's not going to be that big groundbreaking moment anymore. It's not going to go 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, whatever, and, up and up and up.
Dude, we got the Xbox 1024.
Whatever. But the thing is that the best analogy that I can say is the PC is like basically follows this additive. The slow and steady wins the race. The PC, yes, you could potentially get groundbreaking video cards or upgrades, but the vast majority of the games out there can be played on a lot of the systems. Yes, of course, once it's like 3 or 4 years old, you're probably going to have to upgrade. But is it going to cost you as much as a new console? And the console, once it's out, that's the top. Unless you want to trade in your current console for a newer version, but you're still going to have some money changing hands.
Well, part two is the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I know they didn't come out at the same exact time, but the relative time when they came out, they were, in terms of, compared to the PC technology, bleeding edge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would have to spend a pretty penny on a PC to get similar specs to a PS3 or Xbox 360. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, the script has been flipped, where basically the GPU architecture on both the PS4 and Xbox 360, Xbox One, are basically last-gen GPU architecture. Where, it doesn't cost, you don't have to spend a pretty penny on a PC anymore to get better processing power than the current gen consoles. And that's part, where you're talking, it used to be, once upon a time, to get that true gaming experience, the consoles really were a great experience, especially for graphics and gameplay,
right? Because
it made more economical sense. And now, it's not really even close from a hardware standpoint of a PC versus a console for the money. What is a better value for your money? It's a PC far and away nowadays as compared to your consoles. Not to say the consoles can't have good and great games, But if you're looking at it from that perspective of graphics and what are you getting for your money, you know, you can build a perfectly awesome gaming computer for $500.
But okay, but that's that. Okay, so yes, absolutely. But there are still a lot of people out there who don't know how to do that,
Very true.
and that's why they go to the console. And
Well, there's
and,
always going to be a place for the consoles.
well, absolutely. But if you want to go the purist route, the days of the true console outside of Nintendo are dead. I mean, Sony selling off their namesake first first party studio basically tells us that they're content with just others doing the work.
Yeah.
The PlayStation. I am not going to try to sugarcoat. The PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One is not a gaming device. It has gaming abilities. The vast majority of those two devices are going to be used for streaming videos. For the Xbox One, you're going to be putting it through your TV so you can have your fancy features. You can do your voice commands if you have the Kinect.
I want to ask you a question about that since you're bringing that up, because I know you do that.
Yep.
And what do you think? You know, you've had the Xbox One for quite a while now.
Since launch.
How do you perceive the Xbox One's, you know, media aspect of a console? I mean, is it enjoyable? Are you liking it? Or is it just kind of like, well, it's there, so I'm using it?
Okay, so I have my Xbox One hooked up to the TV, through the cable box. So I highly enjoy, of course, not all voice commands work, so I can't, all the channels I can't get to. I'll have to sometimes, you know, I still have to use the controller from time to time.
Of course, ESPN works.
Well, of course, I say Xbox, watch ESPN, and boop. I got that.
That's
I got
an easy
down,
one.
Man. I got that down. But the truth of the matter is, I enjoy it. I like it. I don't know if it's, you know, cutting edge or crazy awesome. It's plugged into my TV. It works. I can play every single Blu-ray disc I have. I can watch Netflix on it. I can watch some ESPN 3 stuff on it. If I wanted to watch like a game that's available only on ESPN 3, I could do that. So in that aspect, yeah, sure, it's great. Do I play games on it? Yeah, I got 4 games for the Xbox, and let's see, it was released in 2013, so it's now 2015.
Wow.
I have 4 games. Let's see here. I have Rise. I have
Destiny, I know you have
Destiny, though I have not played in God knows how long, because to me it was like, it's a first-person shooter in a galaxy far, far, not so far away, but far away, and you get to go on missions. Hooray! Storyline may not be included.
And I know Bungie has been. They still are updating it.
They've been. I'll give it to them. They've been heavily updating. I've seen these will Have I gone back to the game? No. Why? Because Dragon Age Inquisitions, which I've put 140 hours in.
Damn you!
And I don't even think I'm at the halfway point.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay, so for some of you who may not know this, I am a recovering completionist. I do have those moments where I have to do 100%. Mm-hmm. And Dragon Age has definitely just destroyed my will to just go, it's okay. I don't have to get 100%. I have to get 100% or as close as possible. There's a lot of grind in it. I will totally admit there's a lot of grind. There's a lot of side missions. I don't even know if it's possible to do like the Skyrim speed run where you can literally beat the game in 2 hours and 16 minutes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you could do that in Dragon Age Inquisitions. Mainly because for me, I like to feel OP. For those individuals who don't know what OP stands for, that's overpowered. So if I get the chance to go in an area where I'm kind of holding my own, I'm going to keep going and going and going until I can't go anymore. Actually, that I can't go anymore means that I'm out of inventory space, and so I have to go back to where I can actually sell stuff, and then I go right back.
Nice.
And rinse and repeat, and try to level up as much as possible so that when I do get into the bigger fights, I actually stand a chance.
There you go.
By the way, if you do play Dragon Age Inquisition, I highly recommend that you get. Fuck, I can't remember the dude's name. It's not the first magic user you see. It's the second one, who's an ex-Venetari, and he has in his skill tree. He's got this like heal thing. It actually can resurrect you.
Ooh.
And so since he's a magic user, he's going to be ranged. He's going to be standing in the back. So vast majority of the time, he can actually help turn the tide because when everyone else dies, you're going to end up with him, and you got to just kind of run around the background until you're able to cast that spell. And you got to hope, you kind of want to hope that the rest of the individuals in your party are kind of clumped together. So when you cast the spell, there's a good chance that you bring up more than one.
Huh.
And then ta-da! But
See, you've used that strategy a few times.
yes, I have. But it will not work against a dragon yet. I still get my ass pwned by a dragon. I was like, oh, look, I feel good today. Let me go after a dragon. And then 30 minutes later, the dragon was at half HP, and I finally did a complete wipe.
More power to you.
Yes.
Someday you'll get after 280 hours.
Anyways, so Dragon Age Inquisition, that's what I play. I do have the Master Chief collection. I played the original Halo, I think 3/4 of the way through, and then I haven't picked it back up. The fact of the matter is, I'm better at Dragon Age than I will ever be at Halo. So relaxation is going to be Dragon Age over
Fair
Halo. So there you go. Now, of course, I cannot speak on PlayStation 4 games. I don't know if there's any of them out. I know there's games out there. I'm being sarcastic. I know there's games out there, so no one comes screaming, "Oh my God, you're so stupid!" What?
No!
There's definitely PlayStation games out there. I'm sure there are.
You're such a Microsoft fanboy.
There's also Xbox games out there. I just am like slightly knowledgeable, or I know of like 6 games in a total of almost 2 years. I know there's a ton more. I'm sorry, but it's not hitting my radar. Maybe, potentially, because Ultra Confusion really focuses on the independently developed games, which usually come out either in a mobile, a tablet, or a PC format.
Well, that, and you don't care about Dance Dance Revolution 2014, or Dance Life 2015, or any of the others.
I need that controller. I missed one.
Or the Booyah!
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 Which Zealeus, of course, is going to write up that review. No, I'm just kidding.
Of a game that I played for 20 minutes.
Exactly. Of course. I mean, we're a big review studio now. You can get away with just 20 minutes of gameplay and say you play the entire thing. Ha ha!
Screw that, yo! I'm just gonna watch somebody else's YouTube video of playing and write a review off of that.
Oh, well, there you go.
I like that.
But you already put some time in the game, so it would just be a waste of time at this point to watch a YouTube video.
You have a very good point. I like the way you think. Very strategically. Speaking of games, I made a mistake.
What's that? Okay. Tell everyone. Come on now.
I may have re-upped my subscription to World of Warcraft and got Warlords of Draenor. For those who do not know, I used to be a major crack addict of World of Warcraft. Back in the days of vanilla World of Warcraft, I probably put a solid 20 to 30 hours a week into the game. Oh, such a time sink. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we raided from at least 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock every night. And that was the bare minimum for the guilds. And that's just what you did back in the day, vanillas. And
explain what vanillas are.
Oh, sorry. So Vanilla WoW was back in the good old days, where you didn't get a damn mount to your level 40. And you walked uphill both ways in all the Deadlands. And it took you like 20 damn minutes to go find your body when you died, because there was only one graveyard and like the entire damn zone. It's funny how you look like at a game through like rose-tinted glasses. We're like, those are the good old days. Mm-hmm. And then you actually look at like the gameplay, like decisions and the gameplay, like, man, that was shit. That was such a pain in the ass. But yes, I played Warcraft Vanilla. That was the first version of World of Warcraft. And then it was followed up by the Burning Crusade. I played Burning Crusade up to level 70-ish, I think. That's 70 is level cap. Got bored of it. and then I moved on and got over it. I installed Cataclysm, but I got bored after like 2 levels.
How about Mr. Pandaria?
And I totally missed Mr. Pandora, and there was another Wrath of something was in there too. There was a Wrath of something in there.
When the Lich King?
Yeah, Wrath of the Lich King, which was after Burning Crusade.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, it was... There was an ice one. No,
What?
okay, Burning... I don't know.
Burning Crusade was definitely the
I
first
will
expansion.
Google it, you keep talking.
To the Googleplex!
Woo!
So I know Burning Crusade was the first one because I actually played that. And then I got on from World of Warcraft, but that was a solid 8 years ago, because that's when I first moved to Minnesota, is when I was raiding in World of Warcraft. Anyways, long story short, I played a number of MMOs since then, namely Final Fantasy XIV and Realm Reborn and Rift. So I recently decided, what the hell, to get back in World of Warcraft and see how it goes. I'm only like leveled up 2 levels. So I did a druid, and they throw you in like, here you go, you're level 90, here's all your damn skills. They do a little tutorial thing, which is like 2 hours to learn all your damn skills, basically. And then you get into the game, and you have like 8 billion skills at level 90, but that's okay. So now I'm leveling up. The big thing that they've really added in the Warlords of Draenor to really make it cool and unique is the whole follower system. And basically the whole idea of the followers is basically you get your own little town, castle, garrison. Thank you, garrison's the right term.
I know.
You get your own
Guys,
garrison.
I work with the WoW enthusiast.
There you go. So you get a garrison, they get to level up and stuff, and they get followers to do stuff and go on missions and quests and...
You know that you can get unique followers. Like you can actually get Leroy Jenkins.
Yes.
And the Master Fisherman.
Yep, they tell you, like, so when you look at the list of followers, they have them all listed there in all their glory, including Leroy Jenkins.
Though to get it apparently is hard as balls.
Which is kind of funny that they have Leroy Jenkins in there, because it was just the big, stupid laugh from Vanilla WoW, when people would go into Black Rock Depths, BRD, Black Rock Depths, and wipe their entire damn raid by yelling Leroy Jenkins and get their whole party wiped. But that's neither here nor there. Actually, is either that or Anixia. I forget which. Whatever. One of those
I can Google it later.
Ah!
Okay, real quick, here are the expansions. After Vanilla WoW, you have Burning Crusades, you have Wrath of the Lich King, you have Cataclysm, you have Mist of Pandaria, and then finally Warlords of Draenor.
So, I'm giving that a whirl. We'll see how it goes. Who knows? I don't know how much I'll play it. We'll find out. I'm also kind of waiting for the Final Fantasy XIV expansion to come out, because I also greatly enjoyed Final Fantasy XIV because of one major reason. On your character, you can change out your souls as... No, sorry, souls is Rift. 20 damn MMOs. And Final Fantasy XIV, you change out your weapon, and then you change your class by changing your weapon. So you have one character for many classes, which was a pretty awesome mechanism, because like in World of Warcraft, if you want to do ults, you know, because you get bored of DPSing because you're a warlock, and the only thing in the world of warlock can do is DPS, but now you want to heal, now you have your second character who's a healer, maybe a priest, and then if you want to, you know, your friends want to know both characters, you're online, you have to have both online, it's just a pain in the ass. So that's one thing I loved about Final Fantasy XIV, other than it's just a great MMO. If you like MMOs. If you don't like MMOs, you're not going to like any of them, so it doesn't really matter. So, we'll see how World of Warcraft goes.
They keep talking about rookeries. I don't know.
Rookeries? I don't know.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something else.
Charlie has more for you!
Okay, so for those of you individuals who do not live in the state of Georgia or close enough to Atlanta, or perhaps you do, but you ran out of time, so you missed out on the IGDA Atlanta chapter meeting that happened this past Tuesday. I was there. I was the videographer, and I currently have the video up on my editing software, which Zealeus can kind of see there, and I of course know it's there. I have to fix the audio. It is very, very soft, and I know that there are certain individuals out there who want to watch a certain part of this video, so have no fear. It is coming soon for your consumption. I'll tell you what the part is off air.
Did like the Gold Club show up or something?
No.
Okay.
No. It's an event. That's for sure. Anyway.
Did Leroy Jenkins run in?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. Anyways, by the way, apparently to gain, just to go back to Warlords of Draenor real quick. In order to get Leroy Jenkins, you go into, I think it's Black something Depths.
Blackrock Depths.
Yeah. You go there, and all the whelps are gone. It's just you walk in the room, you see Leroy in a corner.
Okay.
He's lying like bloodied up. And at a certain time, you can talk to him. Once you talk to him, he will join and basically start moving with you. And then at a random, basically at some given point, he is going to, and what you're going to have to do as soon as you get Leroy Jenkins is you're going to have to try to clear out everything as much as possible. Because at a certain time, I don't know what the time is, he is going to start to pull aggro like a mofo and start sprinting down the hall or whatever. And if he dies, then he dies, and then you have to wait an entire day to get him again. It's not like you can rinse and repeat. But once he starts, you have 13 minutes to complete the entire rest of the dungeon.
So, like, you're redoing basically the whole entire raid? Is that the idea?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting. I have nightmares of that raid.
Okay, let's talk about some games.
So, it's kind of fun. Okay, sorry.
Go.
It's kind of funny in World of Warcraft, right?
Yep.
So, right now, you start from level 90 in Warlords of Draenor, right?
Yep.
It's kind of funny because, like, I played, World of Warcraft back in the day. Level 60 was the top level. You got uber geared, and you've got 40 awesome people together. You could slay the most awesome, badass dragons. We're talking Nixia, and Razorgore, and Nefarious, and all these cool dragons, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's kind of funny because now you're level 90, and you meet these level 90 minions, followers, and they're like, they're lame, they're just followers. And yet, with, like, level 90 stats, like, these mofos could, like, solo these dragons. Who back in the day at level 60 be uber geared to kill, and they're awesome dragons. It took 40 of you. And now they can just be sold with, like, low-class people. It's just kind of funny to me how... And that's just the obvious natural progression you have to take as an MMO. But from a, realistic standpoint, it's realistic it could be an MMO. I don't know, it just kind of makes me laugh, where these weak-ass characters can now basically just go kill dragons and shit.
I got nothing for you. I think it's just the overall, and I don't mean, well, screw it. If you're offended, whatever. It's the overall dumbing down of WoW to try to continue to bolster your ranks.
Oh, there absolutely is that, yes.
Not everyone is, when Evercrack was, kind of on his way down and WoW stepped in, it was still those hardcore gamers. Though I have to say that playing WoW and then going back to a game that was pre-WoW,
Maple Story
no, not Maple Story. I'm talking Final Fantasy XI.
Oh,
is damn near impossible to do. The reason why is that WoW actually held your hand a lot more than a lot of people knew, because for a lot of people, WoW was their first MMO. Before WoW, quest givers did not have the exclamation mark over their head. You kind of just had to talk to NPCs until someone goes, "Oh, by the way, I lost my belt buckle down that well. Can you help me out?"
You mean the belt buckles that's worth 5 gold, and you'll give me 3 for it.
Yeah. So to pull in more people, it's okay. Here's my biggest issue. You either, as time goes on, you either dumb down the game to allow for more people to get in, which of course could piss off your hardcore audience, but at the same time you have a better chance of pulling in more people because of name recognition at that point.
Yes.
Or you continue to release sequels of the same game, which would allow people, and you make small little adjustments, add maps, add new guns, new gameplay, whatever, to keep it looking like you're getting something original, but you keep it to the exact same specifications every single game so that people feel like they get that new shiny thing and they can automatically be good at it.
But I think the hardcoreness of, like, the original WoW is a bygone era. Mm-hmm. And I say that because WildStar, which is an MMO I briefly stepped into, one of its calling cards...
one of the reasons why you briefly stepped into it was that you signed up just as you were about to move.
That didn't help. You're right. That was not a good call. I have made better decisions before my life. Yes. Um, Moving on from that little side detail of failures in Zealeus' life, is it was supposed to be a beckon call back to basically World of Warcraft vanilla. Um,
Keep on.
I'm trying to, the thing that vanilla did well is it got 40 people together to do a raid. But looking back, it was literally like bludgeoning your head against a brick with 39 other bloody dumbasses. I mean, it really was a very tedious. I enjoyed it greatly because I did it a hell of a lot, but it's very. Looking back, it's like, good lord, that is freaking tedious. Whereas MMOs have got much better at kind of streamlining the process of kind of doing the whole raiding thing, and made it much more convenient and accessible to the public. Whereas WildStar is like, we're going back to vanilla, wow! Where it's going to be hardcore, man. You got to do all this unlocking shit. And people are like, screw that, man. I want to go play like Final Fantasy 14 where I get up to level 60 and I can just go jump in and go kill shit. And so it's almost like, from my perception of the environment, is that's kind of like backfired on kind of the whole WildStar. Where people just aren't quite in as much into the whole, let's go hardcore for life, man. That's where it's at.
Well, okay, so I think, yes, that was part of the WildStar issue. The other thing was a lot of people, for some reason, were billing WildStar to be kind of like a spiritual, not successor, but a relative of Firefly, where you would be going on, because, but okay, before it came out, I swear to God that you had a ship and you could go to different planets.
Huh.
But that basically went, and you're on one planet.
I don't recall that, but yeah.
But that was like seriously like way back in the day, because there was like an ice planet, there was the green planet, or maybe you know, in my old age I've become extremely senile. I don't remember, I don't know, but I swear to God there was multiple planets. Of course, you know, there is the ever present vaporware that is the Firefly MMO. Though
It's
on
like
Steam they now have like an app that's basically got like a countdown timer and gives you updates. Like, oh wow, that's really gonna make me happy.
It's like the Firefly reunion.
Oh, Firefly.
I know. God rest you, merry soul.
Excuse me.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins. Sons of bitches, Rangers beating the Bruins last night, but that's okay. Speaking of sports, since we just went there,
Yes.
last night was an incredible event for both the Hawks and for my sister. My sister, for those of you who don't know, is battling stage 3 lymphoma. She is, I think she's already passed the halfway point of her treatments.
Mm-hmm.
Last night there was a special pregame mixer in honor of her, and all the proceeds for all the tickets that were sold through her event went to cancer research, and that's why I'm wearing the Team Hawk t-shirt. Yes, my last name is Hawkins.
What?
We went to a Hawks game, and it's for Team Hawk.
That's pretty awesome.
Actually, if you want to go really old school, once upon a time I was a radio DJ, and my radio personality was Hawk, and I was on the radio with the German, who some of you might remember from back in the days when Alta Confusion had a forum, and there was literally just a forum exclusively for the German called Rants by the German.
They were epic.
They were, and I wish that he would come back and give us some rants, and we'll just put him in the newsfeed. But he was also my partner in crime there, but he was not the German, he was the Germ, which I did because, going even further back in time, my father was Hawk, and he had a radio show called the Hawk and Herm Show. So that's how the Hawk and Germ Show came about. So Hawk is kind of our deal.
It all goes full circle.
Yes, and of course the Hawks won last night, which was phenomenal!
With an insane dunk!
Boom!
Shakalaka!
So anyways, okay, let's get into some more video games. Video games. Okay, I completed the Supreme League of Patriots, or the League of Supreme Hold on. I don't want to get this wrong.
You sound very confused.
I am very confused. It's Supreme League of Patriots.
Nice.
There are 3 chapters. I just completed the first chapter, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. Point-click adventures. They're humongous right now, especially for independent developers on
I always hear about them.
on
It's
Steam.
always point and click, man.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of them, and they're pretty solid. The reason why point-and-click adventures are pretty solid is that you don't have a lot of non-linear gameplay.
Mhm.
It's point to point to point. Now, the unfortunate thing is, and to me, this is kind of a cheap way to do it, but you create a point-click adventure. Back in the day, which is really going to date myself, but back in the day when King's Quest was in its high
I think I say Monkey's Island.
or Monkey Island, yeah, Monkey's Island too. I mean, it's all Sierra games, so basically those point-click adventures from Sierra. Yes, you had scenes that you got to go back to from time to time, but there was like an entire world for you to explore.
It was a lot of content.
Now, point-click adventures is like, okay, we're going to give you 6 points on a map, and you're just going to randomly basically throw yourself from 1 to 1. Let's see, we'll go from 1 to 4, from 4 to 2, 2 to back to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 2. 2 to 4, and that's how they generate content.
They reuse their assets.
Oh, dear God, yes. Which is okay to a point, but when you make it painfully obvious where you're just trying to extend it by going, okay, so you need this object. Let me say, okay, a pair of scissors. And you are at a... I don't know. You're at a store and you need a pair of scissors or something, but they don't. But of course, the pair of scissors is not there. It's back at the apartment. So
What
you
a
go back to the
store.
So you go back to the apartment.
Can you just buy the scissors from the store?
Apparently not.
Oh.
Well, you don't have any money, so you can't buy them. Okay, and you can't borrow them. You've got to go get your scissors from the apartment. So you leave the store, you walk down the street to get on the subway, to then pop up. To your subway exit for your apartment, you got to walk up the street, into the door, up the stairs, into your apartment, go to the kitchen, and in one of the drawers is the scissors. And there's nothing else that you can select there. You grab the scissors, you go all the way back.
Sounds like you need a griffin.
Okay, you do that, okay? And you utilize the scissors, or you go, oh shit, I'm still missing something. So you leave. And of course, you're going to backtrack all the way back to the apartment and go, nope, I guess I let Bobby borrow my glue. So then you have to get out. You got to go out of the kitchen, out of your apartment, down the stairs, onto the street, back to the subway station, jump on the subway, go to get off at Bobby's exit, walk down the street from Bobby's exit, walk into his apartment front door, go up their stairs, go into the apartment. And then there it is. There's Bobby sitting on it going, oh no, I didn't give you, you never gave me the glue. It was really Sally. So you got to go all the way back down. And it's just like, for the love of God. I understand you're trying to like extend it, but you're like, you finally find Sally like 15 minutes later. And Sally's like, oh yeah, by the way, I left it in the drawer in your apartment. And then magically the drawer becomes available in your apartment.
Woo!
That, ladies and gentlemen, is not a good way to do a point-click adventure. Because you're going to piss off so many people.
I'm pissed off just hearing about it.
Another thing, another strategy that I've seen is that you can't intuitively do things. Like, okay, let's say that you have the ability to pick up objects before you need them. Let's say that you're running around and you're trying to find, I don't know, pencil to write a note. Okay, you find the pencil, and while you're at it, you also find a key.
Sweet.
So you get the pencil, you go back to this piece of paper that you're supposed to be writing the note. You write the note, and you go, oh shoot, there's a locked door. Let me use the key on it. Can't use it yet because you got to talk to your buddy to say, I finished my note. And your buddy's going to be like, well, shit, we're still locked in. We need to find the key in order to use the key. I've got the fucking key. I tried it on the door. I was going to, literally, I understand. I understand that you have to do things in order, but for the love of God, just let me use the key.
At that point, almost make it better if, like, Bobby had the key on him that you couldn't get.
Right.
And then he hands you the key once you give him the note. Like, oh, here's the key to unlock the door.
Okay.
Because then you're like, oh, now I use the key.
It would be like one of those situations of like, okay, you wrote the note and you give it to Bobby. Bobby had his hand in his pocket. When he takes his hand out, the key falls to the ground.
Okay. Now it makes a logical
cause and effect.
Yeah.
So now on the flip side, I have played point click adventures that literally use a scene once and then they move on. And those point click adventures you can get through in 45 minutes. As opposed to the vast majority of the point click adventures now are episodic, by the way. So you either have something that's going to be almost strictly original that's going to take you 45 minutes, or you have something that's so rinse and repeat that you want to slam your head through a wall, but you'll have 4 hours of gameplay. So pick your poison. There is no middle. I have not found a solid middle.
Just play King's Quest again.
Oh, I miss those days.
DOSBox show.
Actually, I'll say this. I'll be totally honest with you. I have not played any of the Telltale episodic games. I'm sure that they are that happy medium. But when it comes to indie games, there is that I have not yet seen that true happy medium.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that being said, Supreme League of Patriots. I believe it's 3 hours worth of playthrough. I still need to upload it. I will upload it tonight. Upload.
Charlie's writing scribble notes to himself.
It's an interesting game. It is the game. The one example I was using where you have to talk to someone and you can gain items before ahead of time, but you have to talk or complete things that you didn't know you really needed to complete in order to utilize the object. Or item or whatever. So you'll be seeing the playthrough and probably a review of that shortly. Of course, I still owe everyone a Deity Quest review, which the more I think about it, the worse the score is. There's nothing wrong with the game. It's just it's not a PC game. It never feels like a PC game. Son of a gun! And of course, I do have 2 indie box games I need to write up. One is Steam Dig World, and the other one is Super Win the Game, which literally looks like it kind of gives me that Legend of Zelda 2 Zelda 2 Link type of vibe. Actually, just screams that game. The Nintendo, the NES version, not
the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yes, the side scroller, not the top down one.
Okay.
And I feel like we got 2 Ouya games we need to review. Okay, so here's a recommendation for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to recommend 2 games. One of them is web-based. The other one is almost identical to that, except that actually, hold on, let me just give you the first one. It's called Higher Ground. Higher Ground is a game where you have a deck. I call it a deck. You basically have a selection that's going to be randomized of characters that you can put on the battlefield. You'll have a back line and a front line. And you have a castle that produces money. You get like it produces like 5 gold a turn. So what happens is you have to use that 5 gold. Any gold left over disappears, and then you gain the amount. Again, now of course there's ways to supplement it. Like you can have characters that will give you plus additional gold. You have characters that will give you extra units that will pop up every single turn, because it's not like here's your 4 units you can choose from. You're stuck with them every single turn. It's a fresh new 4. There is a game that I highly recommend that you get on the iOS and also on Android, and that game, my friends, is called Cards and Castles. Now, it does sort of play like Higher Ground in the respect that you have a castle that's going to be your money producer. And you're going to get like a couple. You get a couple cards. The cards either have like spells, units, enhancements on it, and of course they all have a gold cost associated with it. Now the difference between higher ground and Cards and Castles is that as the game progresses, your castle's actually going to start to produce more money. You don't have. I mean, yes, there's still buildings that you can add that will supplement and make the money appear faster, but you'll be gaining more money, and you'll also be gaining units. Now, the difference between Higher Ground and Cards and Castles also shows in the units. You actually have a square grid. I don't remember how many squares are in the grid, but what I can tell you is that in that square grid, you'll be able to move your units around. Some are ranged, some are melee, and what the ultimate goal is you're trying to take out the enemy tower, or enemy castle, which is the same in Higher Ground. But in Higher Ground, it's basically everyone attacks at the same time, and whoever has more damage points on one side does a specific amount of damage to the castle. Mm-hmm. It's not like in Higher Ground, let's say that you have 15 attack to like 5, so you win by 10. That's called like a super win, and you basically hit the enemy castle for 6. So you don't actually do the real damage, but you could kill any unit that's across from you. In Cards and Castles, you're going to be doing the exact amount of damage that your character has. So you can, and this is what I did with the deck I have right now. I've got this like Headless Rider that costs, I think it's like 10 gold. I mean, it's a late game ad. Actually, okay, so like the money system is kind of like Hearthstone, in a way. There's okay, so it's like Higher Ground or Hearthstone had a baby and put it on the the tablet. Okay, that's really what it boils down to.
That's so sweet.
With the strategy grid element, because Hearthstone doesn't have the grid either.
Yeah, it's just a card game.
It's just a card game, right? So I highly recommend you check it out. It was recommended to me at the Georgia Game Developer Association. No, excuse me, the IGDA Atlanta meetup that I need to check it out. If I liked Hearthstone, of course I immediately played it and was like, oh man, this is like Higher Ground. And of course they're like, well, it's better. It's more than Higher Ground. I'm like, well, of course, but that's my immediate feeling. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. I'm into the game. You get to. At some point, I believe I'm going to get far enough into the game where I'm going to be able to kind of like, I know that I've now unlocked 2 different types of decks. I've got like the Knight deck and I've got a Pirate deck. I'm playing exclusively in the Knight deck. I'm sure that once you progress far enough, because you're going to unlock cards as you go. Yep. I'm sure you can start building your own deck. I'm not to the point where I want to build my own deck because I'm doing pretty well. Once I get to that point,
it already works, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. So check it out. I'm trying to think if there's any other games I need to tell you about. I feel like there's one more.
World of Warcraft.
No.
No.
Charlie is not coming back to World of Warcraft. Excuse me. Demon Hawk is not going back to World of Warcraft.
Nice.
For those individuals out there, Demon Hawk was my character name. I was a night elf hunter.
I go by many names.
Yeah, I know you do.
Depends on the character.
I know.
The day and the time. The sun and lunar eclipse.
Oh my god. Okay. Zealeus and I were talking about this before the this broadcast, and I do want to bring up one thing. There are some amazing books out there that if you have not read them, you need to read them. Zealeus, what is the book that you're reading right now?
Patrick Rothfuss's A Wise Man's Fear.
Right back.
It's amazing. So I've read many fantasy novels in my day. That's what I read, basically, sci-fi fantasy. Okay, so he had his first book, which is The Name of the Wind. The Name of the Wind, good book, solid book, right? I'm like, man, it's a good book, so I'm going to read the second book in the series, which is Wise Man's Fear. It's phenomenal. The thing with his books, okay, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a literary critic, so I'm not really good with the terms. But just the way he writes his prose and the style of the way he writes makes it very interesting. It's like the pacing of the book. There's always something going on that makes me interested. And it's not like necessarily cliffhanger stuff. You know, like some books, the end of every chapter, it's like, oh, it's the next cliffhanger. What's going to happen now? Almost like a serialized TV show. It's just, I get so engrossed with the story and the characters that I just want to know more. The name of the main character is, well, I'm told mine back. It's like Kothke, I think is his name. I haven't told him brain fart. But I just want to know more about him and his ventures. And the interesting thing about the second book, in a way, it's almost written like a series of almost like mini adventures. Like he goes like on all these different adventures. At one point he's fighting. Another point he's having lots and lots of sex. Another point he is killing bandits. So it's all these different things, and it's almost like an episodic style where like it's almost like different chunks of the book are different activities he's taking place in. And I know most books fall into that same category, but these are kind of very distinct parts of the book. But just the way he writes, and it's just a phenomenal book with the way he writes and his writing style. And it's definitely a book that I'd recommend more for a mature or reading audience. Not necessarily because gratuitous violence or sex or any of the above. It's just that it's a more mature writing. Definitely better prose and literary structure than say like a Harry Potter type of book. Not to say I don't like Harry Potter. So that's currently what I'm reading. And I know Charlie has read it also, and he's a fan of it. The next book so I'll actually be reading is the Suzanne Collins series, Hunger Games. Everybody's read it, so apparently I have to read it. Next, I read the Battle Royale, which is the Japanese version, which is the much more graphic version, one might say, of Hunger Games. I did see the Hunger Games movie, so now it's time to read the book, so we shall see how that goes. I'm trying really hard to ramble here, but I don't know where Charlie ran off to. I hope he's still alive. Let's see here. Yes, that's what I've been reading lately. Before that, I, of course, read David Edding's The Malarian, which was the second part of the series, which came after the Belgariad. I'm looking at Charlie's Ford because he has books there, which is your typical high fantasy sci-fi, you know, swords, sorcery, etc. Fate of the world, rest on my shoulders. That's also what makes Rothfuss's series different. You know, most series, you have this like quest to save the world from this big, bad, great, evil king of deadly sorcery. That doesn't happen in Rothfuss's book. It's just the story of Mr. Kothke, and you just start off of him having his adventures from basically childhood up to who knows how old he's going to get in the series. I don't know yet. And it's just a story, you know. There's no great overarching evil that's lurking in the shadows. You know, he's going to destroy the big bad Lich King. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the point of the actual book is. You know, there's no overarching knowledge of him, you know, having to defeat the big Lich King, like I said. So that makes it a little bit unique of most other fantasy series I've read also, that you don't really have that to worry about. So that makes it a little bit interesting too. Yeah. So I want to hear your thought. One of the differences I was mentioning about the Rothfuss series is most fantasy series, you have the theme of like you have to kill the big bad Lich King because there's some good big bad great evil. In Rothfuss's book, you don't really have that. It's just a story of Mr. Kothke. And it's just what's going. I mean, you know something bad is happening because of the way it starts out. Something.
Well, I think okay. So yes, I agree. I think that there is this this looming doom that something big had happened. That fuck, I can't go any further.
That is a hard part. I tried to talk about the book too without giving it all away too.
Because the thing is, okay, so it's one of those books. It's one of those series that literally it goes present time, and then it goes into different sections of the past. But it's not in a like a chronological order. Sometimes it kind of picks and chooses depending on some aspects.
When he's telling his story, it is chronological, though.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, I don't think this is giving away too much. It's basically the dude, he's at an end, and he's telling his story of his youth.
Mm-hmm.
And the youth isn't chronological, but yes, it does come back to present day of the series.
Right.
It is pretty clear when he comes back to present day, it's pretty clear in the opening chapters that something evil is happening in the world, but we don't even know what it is. Really.
Right.
I mean, you kind of get hints and vague ideas here and there, but it's still not like he's like, the dawn of prophecy, where he's prophesied to go save the great princess.
Not yet. You don't know.
It very well may happen, but to me that makes it interesting.
Right.
And that it's kind of a break from most fantasy novels in that series.
Well, so to go along with Patrick Rothfuss, he actually released a novella, and now this novella is not for everyone. And I repeat, it is not for everyone. If you expect it to be the next chapter in the hero story, it's not.
You're sadly mistaken.
You are very sadly mistaken. Hold on, let me grab it. It's called the Slow Regard of Silent Things. This book, excuse me, or novella, I should say, is absolutely doggone it. I opened up the wrong thing. It's absolutely 100% about one of the characters that the main character meets while he's at school. It's the girl who crawls around the under thing. And the thing is, the book is written through her brain. Okay, so it's not going to be, it's going to be her verbiage, the way she processes things.
She's an interesting character.
Exactly. So it's an interesting read. It definitely allows you to kind of gain something, a different perspective of the universe that you're in. But like I said, it's one of those things that's not for everyone, and it's not required.
The other one I would want to know more about is I'm totally not going to say his name, but it's Eluin, that master namer.
Right, yeah.
Because he obviously has
a hell of a past.
He obviously has a hell of a past.
Right.
And every once in a while, for the most part, he's kind of batshit insane. But then every once in a while, he does something to realize, wow, this guy's like a crazy mad genius you don't want to piss off.
Mm-hmm.
And those little flashes of moments, I'm like, wow, I want to know how this guy got to where he is.
Right.
So he's one of those other characters who I'm like, I want to know more about this guy.
Right. Real quick, I know that we're about to run out of time because we've almost gone the entire hour again. Since we're talking about books, I do once again want to mention an author that I personally know. I met him at last year's AndoCon. Oh my God, what the hell is wrong with me? There's going to be another AndoCon.
What?
And Ultra Confusion's going to be there.
We're going to go to AndoCon.
We're going to AndoCon.
What is AndoCon?
AndoCon is a convention put on by an individual by the name of Endo. AndoCon is a very small convention. Don't expect thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people to be there. That would be nice. I don't think that that's going to happen. But if you want to come. It's in August. I have the date here. Give me 1 second. Zealeus and I will definitely be there. We'll be presenting at least 2 panels.
Apparently, I'm going to AndoCon and presenting at least 2 panels.
Yes, you are.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
At least the pay's right.
You will get a beer.
See, like I said, I'm a man of low needs. Give me a beer, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
It's my slogan.
Okay, AndoCon. AndoCon 2015 is going to be August the 15th and the 16th, which I believe is the Saturday and Sunday.
At the Duke's house.
No. It's going to be at a hotel. I don't know the exact hotel.
Hojo.
No, it was the Marriott behind Perimeter last year. I don't know if it's going to be the same one this year.
Okay, right on.
But anyways, AndoCon will at least have 2 panels. We may be more involved with AndoCon this year. That is to be revealed later. Speaking of conventions, remember, at the end of this month, we are now in the month of February, ladies and gentlemen.
February.
At the end of February is Canuga in Chattanooga. It's going to be at the Chattanooga Convention Center. Zealeus and I will be there.
Is this a leap year?
It is the 27th to 20. We're not getting this argument again, okay? Jeez, so much.
Well, that throws off when the end of February is.
It's the 27th and the 28th and March the 1st, okay?
Then it's not a leap year.
Okay, there you go. We will be presenting at least 2 panels. Well, Zealeus and I will be presenting 2 panels. God only knows if I'm going to be presenting more. I have basically offered up my services to any panelist out there who's at Canuga who needs an extra person. Just please, for the love of God, do not put me on the cross-stitching for cosplay. I have nothing to add.
Do it. Charlie gets to cosplay. It's going to be epic.
Anyways, the other thing is at Canuga, we will be at a fan table. And we also will be at MomoCon this year. We will be presenting our 2 panels at MomoCon. It has been confirmed. Let me give you the dates of that real quick here. I am so prepared, you can tell.
These 2 panels that I've never spoken on and know nothing of, so it's going to be extraordinary.
Oh, of course.
I know their titles.
It's going to be May 28th through the 31st. It's going to be MomoCon.
Excellent. That's the last week of school, so it's going to be glorious. Have a good way to leave the school year.
And of course, MomoCon is happening at the Georgia World Congress Center. I mean, Zealeus and I will probably be utilizing Marta.
It's Marta, and you can drink Marta.
Yep, because you'll have a little bit of time while you're taking the train back to sober up.
Indeed. Drive safe. Take Marta.
Indeed. Anyways, that's MomoCon. We're going to be at AndoCon. We have put in all of the requirements for DragonCon, so everyone, fingers crossed. MonsterCon is, they're opening up submissions in March, but something tells me that we will have the ability to be at, we'll have a fan table and be at least presenting 2 panels at MonsterCon as well.
Sweet.
And then, okay, I'm sorry, we're running over, but I do want to mention, I mentioned this book before. He was at AndoCon. His name is Louis Puster III. He has 2 books out. He's got Desecrated and Racked. Racked is the first, Desecrated is the second. He just released a novella called Shadow of the Pyramid, which is based in the same thing. It does center around a different character. It kind of gives you, it's from my understanding, it's earlier on in the timeline, but it's definitely worth a read. I actually kind of like the Shadow of the Pyramid because you were able to... The thing about Racked and Desecrated is that the main character's name is Rack. W-R-A-C-K.
Okay.
And the entire adventure, you only know what he knows. Mm-hmm. You'll never know what any of the other characters are thinking about unless Rack gains like ESP or something. So it kind of gives a weird and very unique perspective on things. In Shadow of the Pyramid, it's a little different. You kind of can feel... you can kind of tell what's going through everyone's head. Of course, the vast majority of the book is centered around a single character, but you kind of have a bigger feel for things. So, seriously, Louis Puster III. Check out his work. I highly recommend it. I love it. And then the book I'm currently reading is a book called, it's book 1 of the Southern Beach trilogy. It's called Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, which for some reason someone recommended this book like a long time ago or a while ago, and then I was looking for my next book to read, and it's kind of stuck out in my mind. I'm like, oh, I got to read this, and it's really weird, but it's good, but it's really weird. But that's usually the stuff I read. So
there you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached or exceeded the hour limit. So, or not limit, but we've gone over an hour. So we're going to wrap it up right now. Thank you for tuning in. We of course will be doing this next Thursday to give you more amazing stuff from our brain. Be on the lookout for a review of at least 2 games in the near future. That though the review is probably going to be, the reviews are going to be hankered by my ability to quickly edit the IGDA Atlanta meeting. I really need to work on the sound. If I can get the sound right quickly, I will transfer over to writing those reviews. And I think that is it. So for myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, thank you for tuning in to the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. We will see you next week, or hopefully sooner, for one of my Something Slightly Different or random game playthroughs. Though something tells me that when Zealeus is streaming, it's going to be wow.
Wow, you don't say.
Which, to be honest with you, Zealeus, I want you I want you to know that there are a ton of individuals who would love to watch people stream WoW. I actually looked at the statistics. WoW is double the amount of individuals over Smite.
Really? I would think streaming WoW would be pretty damn boring.
Oh no, they love it.
I
will show you the statistics afterwards. But
I
anyways,
believe you.
but of course, once again, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.